Hello wonderful people, and welcome back to another video. Today's video I'm going to tell you guys what my least favorite and my favorite things are to do being an orthodontic assistant. So I'm gonna just let you in on that. So I got my little notebook here. Cutest little notebook ever. It's got cats on it. It's got this thing that, you know, holds it all together. Got it from Walgreens, but it was like $10, and that's just way too much. But I had to get it because, for one, I needed a new notepad thingy. Two, it had cats on it, and I was just there, and I was like, might as well just get it. So I'm gonna flip to the page that I have all these on, found it, and we're gonna get right into it. So I'll start with my favorite things that I like to do at work. So the first thing I have here on my list is scraping glue off with bonding pliers. So when a bracket comes off or when we remove braces, we take a bonding plier and it just scrapes the glue off of the teeth. It kind of makes like a popping, cracking noise. It's the glue like letting go of the teeth. And I think that's really fun. I like getting the glue off, and I don't know, I just like to do it. Second thing I like to do is tying in the brackets. So there's brackets on the teeth, the squares, and then you put the wire on top, and then you tie the wire to the bracket. And that is the colored thing, the tie that ties the wire to the bracket. And I just like doing that. I like tying in the brackets. I think it's fun. So the next thing that I enjoy is when the doctors say retie. So that means a patient will come in, I'll take off the ties, and like they're making good progress, and there's nothing we really need to do besides retie them and like keep them going in that direction. So it's not like I have to take the wire out, I have to like bond a bracket or like put elastic lace in or put steel lace in. I just have to take the ties off and put them back on. So just retie the brackets, and it's just so easy. And I just like I said, I like to tie the brackets in, and when they say retie, that's all I do. And yeah. Also, a thing that I love to hear is when a patient comes in and a bracket is off, so it's like one square that comes off. When I say bracket, I mean the little squares on your teeth. I don't know if everyone knows exactly like the proper name for it. So when a patient comes in and a bracket's off and we don't put it back on because they're either close to being done or we just don't really need it at that time. Yeah, love to hear that. Another thing I like to do is fitting 6 bands around the molars. In orthodontics, 6 is your molars back here, and what we do is we take bands and we fit them around those molars, and then we take cement and we make up cement, we put it in the molar band and we push it in, we tap it onto the tooth. So that's like the anchor of the braces, and I like fitting them. I don't know why, but I like fitting the lower 6s. Which brings me to the next thing that I like to do, and that is actually mixing the cement. So I like to mix the cement. You take a little glass slab, then a liquid, and then like the powder, and you mix it, and it makes cement for the molar bands. And I enjoy doing that. Another one of my favorites is when the doctor tells us to get a night tie wire and to put it into the arch. Night ties are just a lot easier to work with, in my opinion. When you're putting it in the mouth, it's just like more cooperative and easier to put in and take out. So one of my ultimate favorite things is when kids come in, or a patient, you know, older person, whatever, whoever, is they come in and they get their braces off. Like, I know what a like I know the feeling, so like I'm happy for them, and I'm like happy that they get to see the result that they've been like working for. So that's another thing I really enjoy seeing. Last favorite thing is when we have retentions that day. So we have retention scheduled. So sometimes we'll have like 2 or 3 retentions, which means a patient will come in, they just got their braces off like 2 days ago, and the doctor fits the retainer for them. So why I like it is because we don't have to do anything. All we do is set up the patient. They come in, they sit down, and the doctor pretty much does the rest, because they don't really need us. They don't have any braces on, and the doctor really just needs to fit the retainer. So we don't really do anything, and I like to see retentions on the schedule. So when you're an assistant, it gives you kind of like a break. Same with like an exam, you kind of get like a break for a second. Not even so much a break, like you can go do other things like instruments, paper towels, clean, whatever. So yeah, so those are my favorite things that I enjoy doing as an orthodontic assistant. So let's get into my least favorite things to do. The least favorite things. Alright, so my least favorite things. The first thing I have on here is taking a palate expander out. And the reason that's one of my least favorite things is sometimes the patients cry. And I don't think it's so much because it hurts, but they're just like nervous to get it out. They think it's going to hurt. And most of the time it ends up like they thought it was going to be worse than it was. So that's good, but it just makes me sad when they're sad. So that's why I think it's like, I think that's why it's one of my least favorites. Most of the time, the doctor will come over and take the palate expander out, but sometimes assistants do take them out. But the main reason why I don't like it is because sometimes they cry and they get nervous about it and whatnot, so yeah. Another one of my least favorite things is taking impressions. There's a couple reasons, I guess. Like, I don't mind it, but a lot of the patients, well, not a lot, some patients will like gag and like cry, sometimes cry. We don't get a lot of crying, but like gag, just because it's in their mouth, like by their throat, and they just like gag and like kind of just get nervous about it. So, and sometimes you have to retake them, which is kind of annoying sometimes, because you feel bad because you have to take it again because it doesn't come out right. So it's just kind of like, eh. So yeah. Another thing that is on my least favorite list is cleaning bowls. So after you take an impression, like you have the impression in, and then you have the patient hold a bowl that you like mix the alginate in, like you hold it here, and usually spit comes into the bowl, and then once you're done you tell them to spit in the bowl because there's like little pieces and parts in their mouth. And sometimes assistants have to clean those bowls. Usually it's like the lab people's job, but I've done it before and it's just like disgusting to me. Just because it's just spit, and I don't, like, I work in the mouth all the time, like I know I'm working with spit, but like seeing like puddles of spit just grosses me out. So that's not my favorite thing to do. And I'm glad that's not like my job. Like, I'm glad that's not part of my description. So thankful for that. Cutting wax. I'm not a fan of cutting wax. So if you've had braces or you have braces or know someone with braces and you've seen those little sticks of wax that you ball up and put in like the back of your braces, so you know, like things stop poking you. I hate cutting those. Like, they come in like long sticks and you have to cut them to like that size, and it just sticks to the thing that you're cutting it with, and it's just obnoxious a little bit. So not the biggest fan of that. Another one of my least favorites is putting on 7s. So we ban 6s, like I said. 7s, we bond little tubes. We glue little tubes to the very back molars So 7s is like your last molar, 8s would be your wisdom teeth. But sometimes if there's enough room, we will like put bands around the 7, which is obnoxious because it's way back there and it's sometimes just hard to see. Same thing with upper 7s. We usually don't bond them. We band them if we can get to them, which that's not very fun because it's just so hard to work that far back in the mouth. Even putting in wires, like when people have 7 bands and there's like a tube and you got to put the wire through, it's just so hard to see a lot of the time because people's cheeks are just in the way, and it's just 7s aren't fun to work with half of the time. So there's that. Another thing that I am not the biggest fan of is fitting for a palate expander. I like fitting the lower 6s, like I said, but palate expanders, you have to do 4 bands total, and it's just a process. And you have to take impression after, and just, yeah, not my favorite thing to do. 1622 stainless steel wires are not my favorite either, especially when there's torque in them. So 1622 wires, they're like the thickest wire, well actually not the thickest, but they're pretty thick wires, and putting them in the tubes is sometimes a little difficult, depending on the patient and like just the wire itself and just everything. So you gotta like kind of twist it in, and like sometimes you gotta really like put muscle into it. Funny story actually with impressions. I was taking a impression on Friday, which was yesterday, and I was taking an impression on this kid because he lost his retainer, and oh my gosh, this impression was so stuck in his mouth. I could not get it out for like I mean I could get it out, but it took some muscle. Like I literally had to like push my body weight. Like it was really up there, which is a good thing because it means it's a good impression when there's really good suction, and it was a good impression, but I just felt bad. I was like, wow, that took a lot of muscle to get that out of there. So anyways, back on track. Yeah, the 1622 wires, they're just thick, and sometimes it's just hard to get in and out of the tubes because they're thick. And yeah, like when I first started actually, I was putting a 1622 wire in, and I was trying to get it into the tube, and I'm like pushing it into the tube, but my my Howl plier, my instrument that I was using, like slipped, and like I just bent the wire because it's a stainless steel, so you can bend it. You can bend it like however you want. And I accidentally made a bend in it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like now I need to have the doctor to come over and like see what he wants to do. Like he needs to straighten it out, get a new wire, whatever. So it's just like sometimes stressful. I'm much better with stainless steel wires now, but sometimes they're just a hassle. And like I was saying previously, torque, I'm not sure how to explain it, but it's like, so you have the wire, and then you have like this little key. It's like a little rectangular skinny key, and you just torque the wire so you can like flare out teeth. So when a wire has torque, it can like flare teeth out, kind of like move the teeth. So not so much like closing space, but like moving the tooth, like however you want. And again, like putting the wire in, you have to be really careful so you don't de-torque it. And you got to make sure you put the wire in the right way with torque, especially because you can, if they're trying to accomplish like this, sometimes you can accomplish like putting it back if you put the wire in wrong. So that's just like a tricky thing that you have to like really pay attention to. Yeah, sorry for my lack of posting, if anyone cares. But I have 2 videos actually recorded that I need to edit and upload. I've been very busy. Yeah, I know, excuses, whatnot, but I have been. And yeah, I don't know. But I'm not sure what video I'm going to post first. Either my day in the life orthodontic assisting or this one. But if you don't see that one first, I got a donut tattoo. I guess I'll come up closer. Yeah, if you know me, you understand why. So there's that. So yeah, if you don't know about this, you'll see it in the next video, hopefully. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.